Welcome to another episode of No Ordinary Woman, where we recognise and celebrate women of all ages and all stages. I'm Fiona Briffa, and I've got Bek Bishop joining me today from Elite Building Services. Hi, Beck.
Hi, how you going?
I'm good. I brought you on to share your story. Like every other No Ordinary Woman, you've got quite an amazing, unique story full of ups and downs. But first, just wanted to start with about 10 years ago, you had an accident that sent your life into a tailspin. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was actually 12 years
Oh,
now.
12 years ago?
Um, I was a law student. I worked at a law firm. I lived at home with my husband and my eldest son, and I was on my way to uni to learn. I was doing a food handlers course,
Yep.
and because I was also on the Deakin University Student Association, and we were going to have a barbecue, so I
Yeah.
went to do my food handlers course. And on the way, I was driving toward the city, and I saw the trees really moving quite aggressively, and then it just looked like they vomited, like they just speared out everywhere. And then I saw the front of a truck, and I don't remember anything else
Oh my
until I
gosh.
woke
So a
up.
truck came out of the trees and just took you out.
Yeah, he fell asleep at the wheel and drove across the median
Yep.
and hit me front on. Yeah.
And so, what sort of injuries did you sustain?
Quite a few. I had multiple bleeds on the brain.
Mm.
I have a mild brain injury,
Yeah.
a permanent mild brain injury.
Mm.
I had facial abrasions. I had two breaks to my shoulder at the front here and one at the back. I had breaks in both my hands, severed tendons, um, a brachial plexus injury, a median nerve injury. I couldn't use my right arm for a whole year
Oh,
after that accident. Like, I was very fortunate to keep it. They rang my mum from the accident site and told her that they might have to amputate my arm to get me out of the vehicle.
oh my gosh. And so, as a result of the physical injuries and the brain injuries, it took you quite a while to be able to just do things that you have always been able to do before, like your arm. Was walking a part of that as well?
Yeah, we didn't know I couldn't walk. I was in the Alfred, and I think they pointed out I hadn't been to the toilet in a really long time. So
Ah,
they wanted me to use my bowels before I was allowed to do anything. And
yeah.
when they tried to get me out of bed, I collapsed and my legs didn't work.
Oh my gosh, that would have been confronting.
It was pretty scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
and not to mention really painful.
Yeah. So a lot of pain that has gone into that as well. And I know that you're really, we chatted a lot before we hit record, and talking about how women put a lot of pressure on themselves, and we were talking about life being ups and uppy and downy. So when you uppy and downy sounds cute, but it really isn't. When you go through something like this, and now previously, you've been a law student, you're very busy, on the go, high achieving woman. What happens when you've had that rug pulled out from underneath you and your future, it has a massive question mark over it?
Yeah, to be honest, it was just, I don't know how to describe it other than full on.
Mm.
I didn't even know the seriousness of what had happened to me.
Yeah.
I had to go to rehab. I lived there for a month while I learned to walk, and couldn't like wash myself. That was probably the hardest thing for me. And that's what I get a lot of PTSD about, is that the vulnerability of not being able to look after myself. So when I
Yeah.
have chronic pain flare ups, I really struggle mentally, because
Yeah.
not being able to bathe yourself and go to the toilet and do those things is really, really hard, especially for anybody.
Yes.
And myself, I was very much, like an independent high achiever, and to
Mm.
have to rely on other people was really tough.
Yeah.
And
Um,
yeah, couldn't use my brain the same. I remember being in rehab and trying to do Sudoku, and I couldn't
yeah.
even do it. And I was getting so
Um,
angry because I just couldn't work it out. And I just
yeah.
thought, what does this mean? Like, what does my future hold? What's
Yeah.
going to happen to me? I couldn't use my right arm. They hoped that it would come back, my feeling would come back in a year, and that I'd have full use of it again. But, there was a lot of question marks there.
Yeah. How long did it take from the accident to really, and obviously you're still suffering from a lot of the fallout from it now, but to be able to even just function normally again? How long was that?
Well, I'm probably like I'm functioning as best I can. I still don't drive.
Yeah.
So I still don't do all the day to day. I still don't do my own house cleaning because of limitations and pain and mobility and that sort of thing. So, and there's days when I can't dress myself and can't
Oh,
bathe
wow.
myself still when I have bad flare ups. So,
Yeah.
you know, I have an awesome life. I'm very grateful for all that I have,
Yeah.
but there's still some hard days.
Yeah. It still sucks, right?
It still sucks.
Yeah, because we can go, yes, and here's where we can tend to not allow our feelings to really, because we go, no, but I've got so much to be grateful for. Yeah, that's cool, but it still sucks, right? It's still
Yeah.
okay for it to feel sucky when you just can't do the things that you want to be able to do.
It's really frustrating, I
Yeah.
think, is well, the thing that added to it, so I got home from rehab and then I was on a lot of medication and things, obviously.
Mm.
And then I think it was 3 months after I got home from rehab, I noticed I had this little pot belly and and I was only 40 kilos. So I didn't understand why I was so chubby. And then it turned out I was pregnant from before the accident.
Oh my goodness.
And that was not happy news. I was so upset. I was so angry. I remember throwing the stick and I was so angry because I was like, how am I going to look after a baby? I
Yeah.
can't even pick it up. Like, what am I going to do?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was
What should have
scary.
been a very exciting and happy time turned into something that
Yeah.
was not.
Well,
Yeah.
also, then we found out, well, I was told to terminate because of the risks involved with him due to the medications I'd been on and all the scans that I'd had. I was told, at least I know I can have a baby. At least I know I can get pregnant. Perhaps this is not the right time.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I chose not to follow that advice. Thank goodness.
Yeah. And now how old's your little
He's
one?
11
He's 11. Well,
and
yeah,
he's
that
perfectly
that
healthy.
lines up with it. Isn't that that hurts me a little bit when medical professionals say maybe you should do this.
Oh, look, there's a lot about it. I was not psychologically well either.
Yeah, yeah.
I physically was not well.
Mm,
So the thought, like the people who were looking after me, the thought of
yeah,
me having to be responsible and look after a baby was probably,
yeah.
it's not good timing. Definitely not good timing.
Yeah, and you manage that. Here's an example of something if somebody had said to you before the accident that you would be able to manage everything that you have just listed, would you have believed them?
No way. No way. Not in a million years.
Now you look back and go, you found out what you were capable of and what you were made of because of that. What does
Yeah.
that make you think about yourself?
Well, you just made me realize that every time I think this is too hard
Mm.
or I can't do that,
Yeah.
take stock and look back because this is not your hardest moment.
No, this is not your hardest moment. This is the thing that I love to remind people of is you have survived 100% of everything that you have been through in your life because you're sitting here. And the fact that you got through all that, here's the amazing thing about, I say women, but humans in general, because there are some amazing men out there that have survived amazing things. But for a woman to go through that and have a baby and manage all that, and it's the physical and the mental, it just goes to show you the things that we don't know we're capable of until they happen to us, and then we just do it. And
Yeah.
this is part of a very passionate message that you have for women, right? And that is that you to believe in yourself. So tell me a bit about that.
I think it's really important for women to know, and I'm having these realizations, even having these conversations with you today,
Yes.
is that you can do what you think, the hard things that you think you can't do.
Yes.
And I just hope that you believe in yourself enough to try, to give it a
Yes.
shot and see that you can do it, and to know that you're actually doing great, whatever you think you're not doing well enough,
Yes.
because we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing. And if you're having these conversations and if you're sharing yourself and your vulnerabilities, you're
Yeah.
actually doing exceptionally well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love is that some days, like even just getting out of bed, you've well done.
Yeah.
Like, and
Well,
for
some
you,
days we don't.
especially if you're suffering, but for some of us that don't have illnesses or anything like that, even some days just getting out of bed is enough. Imagine what it's like for people like yourself. It's and not to compare. Here's the thing: like we don't want to compare our hard days to somebody else's hard days and go, "Well, I don't have it as hard as Beck." No, but
your hard days are
have
your
it.
hard days.
Yeah, your hard
And I
days are
love
your
that.
hard days.
I love the saying, I think it's about like whatever you're going through now.
Yeah.
I can't remember the saying, but it's basically that it'll become someone else's survival guide.
Yes. Yes.
And it's true.
Yeah.
It's so
Your
true, you know.
story. Yeah, your
Yeah.
story. Share your story because it's someone else's survival guide.
Yeah.
And that's what this show is all about, is for women to come on and be real. And you and I were talking about, like, people get to see our Instagram reels, right? Our Instagram highlights. And we were talking about the fact that we need to, as women, all share and I think I used the words, the life is brilliant, and there are brilliant moments and broken moments and everything in between. And not that we have to hang our dirty laundry out on the line for the world to see, but just to allow some of that, oh my God, today was hard, some of that into our communication. And our business Instagram and our business Facebook is completely different. That's all about advertising and portraying an image for a business. But people buy from people, right?
Yeah.
And people connect to people. Like, I do business with people. And so allowing people to get to know you as a person and your ups and downs is really important as well. Just to go, what a woman. Like, I listened to your story before I hit record, and I'm like, you are no ordinary woman. That every woman is no ordinary woman, but just hearing you share that story and just go, you know what, I just keep getting up every day. I just keep getting, some days are harder than others, but you kept getting up every day and doing what you could do with what you'd been given.
Yeah, thank you. If I didn't have kids, it probably wouldn't have come to me as it has. Like, I wouldn't be functioning quite as well, because you do things for your kids,
But how do you know? If you
Yeah,
didn't have
that's
the
right.
kids, how do you know you still wouldn't have just gotten up? Because you don't know what you will do until you're faced with those circumstances.
Yeah, that's true. I think the days where I'm really struggling, I force myself to get up because I show up for my kids. And this year I'm learning that I have to show up for myself.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love that.
But kids can't be a reason. Kids can't always be a reason. They're going to grow up.
Yes.
They're going to go off and live their own lives, and then what?
That's very true, because mine grew up and they went off and lived their own life. And then I literally grieved when they drove off in their cars for the first time. I'm like, oh, well, who am I going to be driving around everywhere now? Yeah. But I love that. I'm just going to go back to what you just said, is that you need to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself the priority. And as counterintuitive as that is for mothers, especially, and even if you don't have kids out there, for women, and again, this is a woman's show. I'm not discounting men, because they are just as important and just as amazing, but this is a women's show for women to just learn to show up for themselves, because you taking care of yourself, being kind to yourself, being compassionate to yourself, and showing up for yourself and giving yourself what you need and first allows you to go out and be the best you for everyone else around
100%.
you.
And if you are a mum, then you're exemplifying really good positive behaviors for your kids as well, because if you don't put yourself first, they're learning that they're not important enough to put first. And that's something I'm discovering this year, is I want to ensure that my kids know, they have to know that for themselves, that they are important enough to put themselves first.
Yeah. And to be okay to have good days and bad days and fail, because here's one thing I think that I know I struggle with, was like, do as I say, don't do as I do. So we can say to our kids, self-care, positive self-affirmations, all that sort of stuff, put that first, and then go out and don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Go out and run myself into the ground or beat myself up when I make a mistake. I'm sorry. The kids are going to actually model on the behavior, not on the words
that they see. Yeah, and you can't ask someone to do what you're not prepared to do for yourself.
Yeah.
And I learned that this year. I was talking to a gentleman from MindFit, and he said that to me, and I just burst into tears, because I was like, I give all this lovely advice for people to look after themselves, and then he was sort of saying, but you don't do that.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a hypocrite, and I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
But I realized that why would anyone want to listen to what I have to say if I don't walk the walk?
Yeah. And I think that's, it's just, we need to be mindful not to use that as another reason to beat ourselves up as well. As like, because sometimes we can, like those who can't do teach, right? All
Yeah.
the best tennis players often are people that never actually won tennis matches because they're really good at teaching. So it's okay for us to be good at teaching and encouraging and loving and nurturing others, even if we don't get it right ourselves, as long as we're helping somebody else. But then I think it's also important that we try to coach and encourage and model that ourselves, but just try not to use it as another reason to beat ourselves up, beat yourself up. Because like, yeah, well, look, I'm not even practicing what I preach. I'm a hypocrite. I am too. I reckon half the women out there watching going, yeah, I hear your sister, right? But
Yeah.
go, all right, let's be aware of that and maybe start to practice a little bit more at being kinder to ourselves and being more vulnerable.
More forgiving.
Yeah, more forgiving of yourself. Yeah. And this conversation is happening for you watching is because we all kind of we've all got completely unique and amazing and scary and hard lives and wonderful lives, but we go through a lot of similar things. We all have fear, self-doubt, and weaknesses and strengths, and that is, we all have them. So that's one thing that ties us all together. And I think it's what we do with all of that and to allow ourselves to just show up as real as we are. And Beck, you and I were talking before we hit record about just we're in Victoria and we're all fatigued after 2 years of COVID. But even women that I talk to in other states, we seem to just be exhausted. Everyone's just really tired. And you and I described it as can't even really explain what it is that we're feeling. And I wonder if it is because the pendulum has swung way too far to the hustle, achieve, get everything you want in life. Instead of, we've gone from the 50s housewife thing. I think our generation might have taken it a bit too far. And now we're just tired because we haven't given ourselves the fun, the recreation, and all the other stuff that sort of rounds that all out, the achievement. And because there's nothing wrong, the achievement is not a dirty word, nothing wrong with it, but it is if we're sacrificing our health, our fun, our well-being, and allowing ourselves to fall on our bums and just be exhausted and spend a week in bed if we need to, or even spend a month just dialing it all down because of one reason or another, all the different fatigues that you and I were talking about earlier. We don't allow ourselves to stop when that happens.
Yeah, 100%. It's something I've recently implemented since probably April this year was I was listening to Chelsea Pottinger's from EQ Minds. I love her.
Yeah.
And I've implemented 6-week rest and reset breaks now.
Yeah.
So even if it's like could be a week, which is fantastic. We went away for a week in the last school holidays to Canberra on a very impromptu trip. It was very funny. Let Harry organise it because we were just too busy. So we let an 11-year-old plan our entire trip. And it was so much fun. So whether it's that or whether it's just going and staying in a dingy motel for a night, as long as it's not here, because I'm here all the time. I don't drive. I need that break so then I can come back and work hard and show up again.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I've been doing that for a while, actually. Like in my calendar, I every 6 weeks I have a week where I don't book in clients or training or anything like that as well. But through the last 2 years, like the encouragers, like the people that show up for other people all the time, and let's face it, that's women, forgot to put themselves first because I think we kicked into taking care of each other and taking on that collective energy of the difficulties of the pandemic as well, and it all went out
remote learning. All of the remote, like I felt like we went back decades when women were sort of like, well, it's my role to do the remote learning and to still maintain the household and to still work. And like, how did that even happen?
Yeah. And again, let me say, like what we said earlier is that you survived it. Every single woman watching this and you survived stuff that you never knew you were capable of doing. Like you look back and go, oh my gosh, that was really hard, but you did it. And your next challenge that you face, look back at those and remind yourself, hey, I didn't think I was going to survive that either, but I did it. And again, if someone told you you would have to manage this. Do you think you could? We would all say, nah. But we just do every single thing that's happened to us in our lives. We just manage it because we're freaking amazing. We are equipped with these coping skills, and again, and also if you've got a village around you of people that can encourage and nurture you as well. But even the women at home watching that don't, you still survive everything, don't you? Because you're amazing. It's harder.
Yeah.
Still just get on with it. And this is the amazing thing about women, and this is why we need to hit the reset button here and just go, where is my self-care in all this? Where is my self-kindness and self-compassion and talking to myself and giving myself space? Because one of my favorite sayings, we're not human doings, we're human beings.
Yeah.
Like, let's just, yes, it's great to achieve things and have goals and all that sort of stuff, but balanced out with the just, where's my fun and shits and giggles, I call it, and just sitting around, just going, oh, you know what, for the next hour, I'm going to achieve nothing.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I tend to do now is my self-care is not going and getting my hair done or my any massages, anything like that. My self-care is not putting things in my diary.
Nice.
You know, honestly, that it's so different for everybody.
Yes.
Like, yeah, who doesn't love a massage?
Yep.
But for me to not book myself every day,
yeah, exactly.
you know, that for me, that's showing respect to myself.
Oh, I love that word. Let's say that again. That's showing respect to yourself.
That's
So
showing
for those,
respect. That's showing respect to myself 100%, because by booking myself back to back to back to back to back, you know, I'm not giving myself what I need. I'm actually taking away from my needs.
Because would you do that to a staff member? Like if you had a team of people working for you, would you do to them what you're doing to yourself?
Not at all.
No. And so what is it, Beck? What is it about us? And you know, we know this in knowledge, but we need to know it in wisdom and in our hearts. What is it that do you think, that keeps us going back to, oh, I'm not doing enough, I'm not achieving
I just
enough.
think I can do it. I can manage it. And I think we're really hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, if I was actually to sit down and write down the things that I do, I'd probably go, geez, Louise, I need to get a PA, which is something I've actually realized this year, and I will be hiring this year. But, you know, when you're in it, you still think you're not doing enough, you know. You want to make your kids' school snacks. You want to make all your meals homemade. You want to do everything yourself. And you know, so there's delivery services for a reason.
Yeah. Because how many hours do we actually think there are in a day?
Well, I actually said to my husband yesterday, we talk about the things we're grateful for every day. And I think he said his least favorite thing was that there weren't enough hours in the day. And I said, everyone has the same amount of hours in the day. It's what we do with them, you know, and that's something I've learned too. Like we always complain, oh, there's just not enough hours in the day. I don't have enough time. I've reframed my thinking is not that I don't have enough time or I didn't have time to do that. I didn't make time to do it because it obviously wasn't a priority. Yeah. You know, that's just me.
No, I 100% agree. And that's what I say to clients is that they say, I haven't got enough time. I'm like, well, yeah, you do. You've got the same amount of time, and time is actually an illusion. It's that you are spending time doing things that aren't bringing you joy or bringing you happiness. And again, like we go back to the hypocrite thing, because I'm guilty of doing that myself. But it's about finding what is it that we're doing that we don't need to be doing, that we could fit something that's more fun, more contribution, rather than goals and earning and achieving. And again, that's not a dirty word. I'm not saying we need to just stop and all go back to Amish living, where we just live in a community and wake up, cook, and tend to the land. Although I'm not going to lie to you, I love that kind of life. And so you sit around the campfire, like you go to some of those third world countries, they've got it, you know. So while they don't have this and they don't have that, but look how happy they are.
Oh, for sure. Like I love going camping. I don't even love caravanning. I love old school tent, make a fire to eat camping.
Yeah. So we have too much to do because we've put too much on our plate, because we've set our expectations a little bit. And I'm not going to say too high because it's negative, but we've disproportionately allocated our
overcommitting.
expectation.
Definitely overcommitting in every facet, even with mothering. A lot of us, we hold ourselves, we should be up here, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. I think the word should be scrapped.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because whatever you're doing, it's enough.
Yeah, it is enough. And changing our language. And you and I were talking earlier because and I'm sure that there's another woman out there watching about that if we're analytical people too, and if we do put a lot of pressure and stuff on ourselves, is that then when we don't do something, then we overanalyze why, and then we overanalyze this. So we're actually exhausting ourselves trying to work out why we didn't do what we wanted to do. And honestly, my mentor said to me the other day, because I was talking about just the 2 years of lockdown that we went through and all that time that we had on our hands. And he said, you're actually feeling guilty for not doing what you should have been doing or what you said you would do if you had, like we all go, oh, if only I had time, I would clean out those cupboards, I'd do that. Oh my gosh, I did none of that. Like I was just the biggest blob during lockdown. I did none of the things that I said I would do. But like you just
if you had the time,
if it was important enough.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. I didn't have any downtime during lockdown.
Yeah.
Zero downtime. In construction, we didn't stop.
Yeah.
And so I actually used cleaning out a drawer as like a liberty exercise because it was something to gift yourself to say, see, you're doing something else other than working and burning out. It was like, I am contributing to a household, one drawer at a time.
Yeah, exactly. But even that's still doing, isn't it? And like
it is. I felt like, that everything was falling down around us. The business was insane through lockdowns. Like we were still working, and I took it to another level in helping out in our communities as well with information coming from government. So I did really overdo it. But doing those little tasks just made me feel like a home person as well as not just a workhorse.
Yeah, you're a woman with a home, and I can see how that would be something that is a bit of a break from the work. But it's still work. So I guess here the message being that you wanted to sort of share your story is that we can do anything that we show up for, but like we say, we want women to believe in themselves, but what happens when we don't believe in ourselves?
Well, I think the message is that you can do anything you want to, but it doesn't have to be done perfectly. You don't have to set those massive expectations for yourself. And if you believe in yourself, I think one of the best things is to have a network around you that supports you no matter what as well. Because when you don't believe in yourself, just ask them, and they will be honest with you the way that you would with them. So that, you can see, like if I could give anyone a gift, honestly, it would be that you could see yourself as others see you.
That's
truly. I just feel like that would change my life. That would change everybody's life, because we're so critical. We're so harsh on ourselves. But if you could see yourself the way, your family, your friends, your colleagues, anyone else sees you.
And if we knew how they
to do it.
Oh, I love that. Look at yourself the way other people look at you. And I think it's really important to go, sometimes we don't believe in ourselves. Sometimes we don't have the energy to believe in ourselves. Sometimes our mental health is taking a hit, and it's very hard to believe in yourself. It's very hard to believe in, possibilities and opportunities and stuff. And so in those moments, it's just important to, okay, I don't believe in myself, but I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, my to-do list has gone from a whole A4 page to being 6 items. And that is simply, what are they? Eat a healthy breakfast, drink water and take your medication, go to bed before 10 p.m., shower, just the simple things to ensure you're functioning at your best capacity, so that you can, if you add anything else to it, that's fine. But they're the fundamentals that you have to do to survive. And if that's all you're doing, that's good enough.
Still winning. And that's the thing, is like adjusting our expectations of ourselves to meet where we are at the moment. And sometimes that changes from day to day. Like you might wake up feeling tired because the kid's been awake all night. And so adjust the expectations of that day to meet how you're feeling. And like, if you wake up feeling on point, adjust your expectations.
I agree so much with that. If you're having a hard day, if you're having a really bad day, just lower those expectations, because you can't be expecting yourself to perform as you were yesterday on 8 hours sleep in a perfect environment. I agree with that completely. I think that's really well said.
Because it's unrealistic to expect consistency in our performance when our health and our rest and other contributing factors aren't consistent.
Yeah,
and so we're really setting ourselves up to fail. And this is one thing that I've learned, because I've had at the beginning of lockdowns, beginning of COVID, menopause kicked in for me. Oh man, girls, you've got something really fun to look forward to. But what I learned, the biggest, most valuable lesson is, like, because I was trying to raise my abilities and try and push myself harder to meet my expectations. And the biggest thing that I learned was to lower my expectations, go, honey, cookie, sweetie, you can't. And so I had to just go, okay, cool, and accept what I was capable of, and ask myself in the morning, okay, what do you feel like you're capable of today? And what do you even want today? Not what do you need to do, what do you want to do as well? And I found really what do you want to do is really good. And speaking of Chelsea Pottinger, she quoted something that is in a book that I'm reading that, funnily enough, is like an achieving book, but it's Atomic Habits. It's breaking everything down into tiny little steps, and it's about practicing I have to with I get to.
Yes,
well, to change our language from I have to I get to. And so there's a lot of other different things that we can change our language in the way we like. Instead of saying success or achievement, say contribution to myself and my family, contribution to the community, because I think that's a more positive word. Success, it's all fine and dandy, but contribution is something that gives us fulfillment.
And success comes with pressure and expectation. Contribution comes with generosity and gratitude.
And then contribution is on my terms, because what I'm able to contribute to my family, to myself, is very different to what you can contribute, because it's a completely different set of attributes. Right? But we kind of look at success as a measuring stick based on other people's success.
I definitely feel like people should stay in their own lane. And I always tell the kids, because I'm also on the coaching team at my son's football club, and you only have to beat the other team. You don't have to listen to any of the crap they say. You just beat yourself last week. So whatever you did last week, try and achieve that. Like the only person that you're trying to beat is sounds really bad when you say beat yourself, but I don't mean it in a negative way.
You're right, though. You are your only competition, because there is literally no one else on the earth that has your unique set of attributes. So trying to compare yourself or compete against them is actually quite futile, because you're not on the same level playing field. So if you just focus with showing up as your best self, and again, let's remind ourselves, and the ladies out there watching, that your best self today might just be pajamas and couch. Right? And that's okay. Your best self
who didn't buy a hoodie during lockdown.
Right. Your best self today might be really tired and fatigued. Your best self tomorrow might be, oh, yay, I'm capable of a little bit more. So it's just showing up as your best self, given the tools and whatever you've got today, each day, and not try to compare. Don't even compare yourself to yesterday's.
That's actually my coping statement is I'm doing the best that I can with the tools that I have in this moment.
Yes. And that even better, in this moment.
Because again, it could be different tomorrow, or if you go into a self-help course, whatever it is, just be kind to yourself.
I love it. And also, I think we outsource our development to too many people. There's everyone's a guru in everything at the moment, and I know that I'm a coach, but it's your wisdom is within you. Start listening to your intuition again as well, and your wisdom, everything that you need, all the answers that you need are within you. Be careful what you're outsourcing to other people. Yes, it's great to learn from other people's experiences and skills and all that sort of stuff, but not ignoring what you've already got inside you.
You want to build on that.
And so, all right, I could sit here and talk to you all day. I love your message. So recapping your basic message is, no matter what comes your way, you will survive it. You are strong and you are amazing. And some days it's okay to not have everything all together, but to be kind and compassionate with yourself.
Yeah, it's okay to not be okay. And if you need a personal cheerleader, hit me up. I'll support
Yes,
you every inch of the way.
I love you. And we can put your link, your social
Yeah.
contacts and your business, because all right, just for FYI, Beck has a building business. And one of the things, I love speaking with you before about how excited and how much you love going on someone's building journey with them and seeing their dreams come true. That is a real heart of a beautiful human that
Oh,
would look at
it's an
building like
honor.
that.
It's
Yeah.
a privilege. After I read Emma Isaac's book, Winging It, the
Yeah.
first book, I actually sat down and wrote thank you letters to every single customer that we have, just to say how much I appreciate them and trusting us
Yeah.
with such a huge part of their journey, a huge part of their life. And it's not something that I take lightly. And it's the reason why I continue to do what we do. I started this working in the business for totally different reasons. And I fell in love with this industry and the people I get to work with, the people I've met. It's beautiful. And our customers are everything to us. We couldn't do what we do without them. And the fact that they let us in and they do share their personal life with us. And, our customers still allow us to actually bring prospective customers through their home to do a walkthrough so they can see a real home. Yeah, every single
That's so
one.
lovely.
And they're very happy to let people through.
Yeah.
It's just such a compliment. And I'm just so grateful,
I'm going to
honestly.
build a house one day and I'm coming to you because I love your passion. So, you know how I said people buy from people. You're the person I want involved in my story as well. I love that. Now,
Thank you.
another part of your story is, and I think another important thing is for women watching to remember that you do life on your terms and in your time, and your time frame is different to somebody else's time frame. Because you were saying how long it's taken you to get your law degree, and so there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's just because life happens and stuff happens. And don't compare yourself to somebody else's maybe 4 or 6 year journey.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone,
Yes.
I think it's actually a good thing what happened, because I had always been just set on working law. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to go through and be partner and do all the, the typical lawyery stuff. And this really threw a spanner in the works. I found another industry that I'm absolutely besotted with. I must say, I feel like my heart is in building and my soul is in law. So if I can do the two together, that would just be incredible. But it shows that no matter what happens to you, I'm 40 and my life isn't over yet. My career could change at any point. It's not too late to follow your dreams, your passions, your pursuits, whatever it is that you're interested in, or just take that leap of faith. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just anything can change, and you can excel in whatever you want.
I love that. And yes, you are never too old to become what you want to be. And the thing is that with that is, I think we need to be careful not to hold on to things too tightly, our expectations, our hopes, our dreams, because sometimes life has a different idea of what you're actually, so here's what you want and here's what's actually going to happen. I think we need to be, if we're a little bit more flexible and open to allowing life and God, universe, whatever you want to say, enter into your situation and take you on maybe a different and better journey for you. It's important that we don't hold things too tightly and go, oh, but I put so much effort and energy into that. We need to maybe go, okay, maybe this is not for me. Yeah.
No, I've said to my kids even, when that door closes, you might actually turn around and notice that there's 10 other doors on the other side that you didn't even see before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, because we're not the be all and end all. Life is wiser. Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh, I could continue to talk to you all day, but thank you so much. Also, just a very quick one, you are an ambassador for Are You OK Day as well, and a big mental health advocate. And when Beck said before, if you're looking for some encouragement, hit me up, she actually means that. Like, that she actually means that. So I just thank you so much. It's been an absolute privilege to speak to you, and thank you so much for sharing your story so openly and honestly with us today.
Thank you for having me. And I'm really passionate about bringing that mental health aspect into construction as well.
Yeah.
We just had our second mental health event 2 Fridays ago. It was exceptional. And I love, hopefully, um, well, being a little bit vulnerable and creating opportunities for people to be vulnerable as well. Like,
Yeah.
so at our events, people speak from the heart, they share their
Yeah.
concerns and issues. And I just want to give them the space to talk about whatever they need to talk about and feel accepted and welcome to do that.
Amazing. Yep. And just let's acknowledge life can be amazing, but it can be freaking hard too. And that's okay. Yeah.
And it
Some
is for
days,
everyone. Like, that's
yes.
what I say to some people. I'm like,
Yep.
you're not special.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not special. Like, everyone has shit days and
Yes.
everyone has hard crap that comes up. So,
And we
you
all
know,
fall on our bum.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's the old adage, a problem shared is a problem halved. And
Yeah.
my whole thing about what we're doing in construction and mental health is I want everyone to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Whatever you think in your, particularly in construct, I can only speak for construction.
Yeah.
So, we've got, we're locked into contracts, we've got
Yeah.
price increases. There's so many things that are impacting builders, tradies, suppliers right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I just want them to know that every fear, concern, anger, like everything that they're feeling, the
Valid.
fella that's standing beside you at this event
Yeah.
has got the exact same fears and
Yes.
concerns. And if you talk to each other, it might just make you feel better and less alone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. That is the importance of sharing our stories, sharing our vulnerability, because it'll make somebody else feel less alone. Yeah. Because if
100%.
we're feeling it, somebody else out there is feeling it too.
Yeah, they don't have to sit at home and struggle about, being concerned about whether they're going to get this job or that job or
Yeah.
whatever it is, because the guy that lives next door to you has probably got the exact same issues. And if we
Yeah.
can come together and talk about it, we can normalize it
Yeah.
and
And
we can have these
support.
conversations, take the weight off, take the pressure off, and then
Yeah.
hopefully move a little bit lighter.
Yes. That's the world we need to live in, is to come together. It takes a village. All of us
Yeah,
as humans need to come together and just start being real with each other, supporting each other and loving each other and being kind and
being
compassionate
kind.
with each other, because we're all fighting, we're all winning, we're all battling.
Everyone's going through their own struggles, and all this COVID stuff and all these other challenges are on top of your own personal circumstances. So you
Yes.
might have the same issues in the industry, but they're
Yep.
on top of your own personal circumstances as
Yeah.
well. So
Yep.
if you share that, like, then people can understand and they can practice compassion and empathy as
Yes.
well.
Ah, I love it. Compassion and empathy. Yep. We need more of that in the world. We need to be the change we want to see as well. I love
Absolutely.
the work that you do. I love the work that you do in the building industry, but I just love the work you're doing as a human, showing up here and sharing your story with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was an absolute pleasure. Well, thank you, Beck. And thank you for watching another episode of No Ordinary Woman. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.